Welcome to the Striker's Perspective, where we break down fights from a striker's perspective. Like, share, and subscribe. Let's start it off.
All right.
Derek Lewis versus Dawkins, bro.
So I would say I was 2-0, about to be 3-0 when it comes to people you don't like, people who you hate on winning. So
Oh no! I don't hate on Derek, man. I just don't. I don't. But the thing is, now I can't deny it, man. It just he walks in there, he does what he does, so I can't deny him. Even though I might not like his technique or respect his skill too crazy, his timing is impeccable. I'll give him that.
His timing is impeccable. Stands alone at the top of the all-time UFC knockout and finishes, and like he said, only clean fighter too. Clean. That's something that should be emphasized.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't think that his name is out of the title picture. Depending on what happens with Francis Ngannou and Cyril Gane, if Francis wins, then we can run it back with Derek Lewis. But as far as that fight, Derek Lewis did what he did best. He walked him down, got his back against the cage, and the timing was impeccable. And then when it was time to finish, something that I did notice is when Derek Lewis is out in the open, he stands real tall, feet together, sort of plots forward. But when it's time to throw those bombs, he drops real low and fully rotates those shoulders and puts 100% into them. So it's sort of like a difference in technique to when he's on the outside plotting forward to when it's time to finish. You see him almost squat down like he's making a tackle and really load up on those shots.
Yeah, because what I was interested in this fight, just looking at Dawkins's confidence. But I'll tell you this: when the fight started, I noticed how wary he was to go on the inside. He wasn't even almost like he was scared, and I understand that, but he wasn't. It's like he did not want to make any type of contact, no jabs. I was like, at least hit him with. I remember I was speaking. I was like, yo, at least hit him with the low kick. Throw some low kicks in there if you're really scared to touch him.
He was touching him with the low kick. He actually landed a couple. That was really the only strike he was really landing. He is sort of moving fluid.
Yeah.
And one thing I would say, the fluid motions that he were doing to try to lull Derek in, I think that's not going to really scare Lewis. I think what really bothers Lewis is the constant high pace, fast to fast movements. And as far as Dawkins, what do you think about his body type and maybe going down to 205?
Yeah, I was looking at him. It looks like he could be kind of very small for the division because he also had he's kind of even though because I could tell he cut down a little bit, he still has some flab, but the way his flab looked, it looked like he could still cut down a little bit. So I think he could be in the wrong division. But the thing is, then you're in the lightweight, and they're more
like heavyweight, yeah.
They're more technical with it, and depending on especially when you go to the higher divisions. And I don't really see that skill set with him. So I don't know.
But then again, look at Jared Cannonier. Went from 205 he went from heavyweight all the way down to 185.
Yeah.
So I don't see why, Dawkins, because at the end of the day, he's giving up, when you start going against those big heavyweights, he's going to be giving up 30 to 40 pounds every fight. And that's a lot of weight.
It was a crazy weight difference.
That's a crazy weight. Besides the fact that maybe there should be something in between, like another weight class, but it's just not. So I think maybe 205 is the way to go, because think about it. You got people like Bam Bam, Tuivasa, who's very heavy. You got the other Samoan, Tafa, who missed weight at heavyweight. What do you think about that? What do you think about a heavyweight missing weight?
Is it the thing about heavyweights missing weight? Is it even that punished like the other weight class? I feel like for some reason it's not as.
I think he was the first or second person to do it.
To ever miss weight in heavyweight?
Yeah, so it doesn't happen too often, because 265 is a lot of wiggle room.
Yeah, how much did he come in? Do you remember?
I don't remember how much he came in over, but missed weight but got the KO. So, but imagine if that was Dawkins versus Tafa, and then he misses weight on top of naturally being 30 to 40 pounds heavier. So that's what I mean. Whereas Dawkins has a younger brother. He fights at 185. Why not fight at 205? I think he could do it. I think it'd be better for him, just because look at John Jones is putting on weight for a reason. So I think Derek Lewis looked great, and I hope to see him fight again soon. I don't know who he's going to fight because he's sort of knocked out everybody in the division already.
I remember he was saying that if one fighter were to drop out of the Lewis and Gan of the Gan and the Ngannou, then he would be willing to step in, only if it's not 5 rounds. But he said even if it's 5 rounds, he'll be willing to make this one exception. So that's interesting. But in regards to what's next for him, I don't really know where he goes from here. I can't really. I want to see him versus. You know, I want to see him against. I want to see him against Tuivasa. That would be a very, very interesting gatekeeping type of fight.
It is, but here's
crazy.
Here's the problem, though. Derek Lewis is sort of like the Robert Whittaker of 205. I mean, of heavyweights. Mm-hmm. Whereas like Francis Ngannou could beat everyone else, and maybe not beat Derek Lewis, but Derek Lewis is gonna beat everybody coming into that heavyweight picture. So to have Derek Lewis sort of as a gatekeeper doesn't really work because you're going to be beating up basically all your potential superstars, putting them against Lewis. I mean, that's a hard fight as a gatekeeper.
Yeah. But it depends though, because like you look at Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades was winning that fight until he made a stupid shot. He was winning that fight until he made a stupid shot.
A lot of people are beating Derek Lewis until they're not.
Exactly, but that's the thing, though. It's like you got to just have to be on your P's and Q's. Like
it's hard. Look at Volkov was on his PQs for 3 rounds. Basically, he got finished in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's a long time to be on your P's and Q's. It's the reason he stands alone at the top of the UFC for finishes.
You know what I was thinking? I was looking at Dawkins' approach, and I believe people think that Gan laid the blueprint. No. God didn't lay the blueprint. That's a Gan. You can't do what he does. That's not the blueprint. So it's not like, okay, I see how he beat him. I'm about to hit him with shots, boop, 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 stay on the outside. I'm like, no. Gan would do that to you. So just because Gan did it, don't mean you could do it. So
and I definitely agree with that, because you try to fabricate or utilize someone else's style, you're not going to do it as good.
Yeah. Like Gan, like what? But you really think about it, like Gan did not give a F about Lewis's power. He didn't care about none of that. Like Dawkins, you could tell he was wary. Gan did not care, bro. He was right in his face, throwing hands, moving out the way, pop, pop, pop. That was crazy, man.
And what I always say is the worst thing for any fighter, especially at heavyweight, is to miss punches. And Gan is able to make these guys miss punches. But unfortunately, there isn't too many people in the division who can make other heavyweights miss punches like Gan can. But question, what about Stipe? Stipe is sort of the forgotten guy in this division. How about Lewis versus Stipe?
They was talking about that. That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
I think Lewis can take it to Stipe.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, all he has to do is just, especially if he rushes. I kind of like the rush Lewis. I like that. That little super move he has where he just rushes and throwing bombs.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like
low.
It's like a finisher move. Because it's like, honestly, especially because you could tell that Lewis is taking them leg kicks, but he was backing Dawkins to the corner. He was slowly backing him. When he had him, I think that one leg kick really pissed him off. He's like, let me just end this right now.
Yeah.
He's like, no, you doing too much now. But you could tell Lewis is not like getting leg kick, especially the way his body is positioned. Like, you ever see his back leg? His back leg looks weird. It's like, it almost looks like, I can't explain it, but every time I watch it, I'm always looking at his back leg. I'm like, but you can tell, huh?
Sort of like he's standing with his feet in the letter L. Like, his feet are sort of positioned in the letter L, sort of. And like I said before, when he's not about to finish someone, he sort of plots forward, with the back leg sort of positioned outward, and the front leg is just positioned straight. So you can really get the angle on those kicks. but it's different when he's about to finish. And you know who we forgot about? What about Rosenstrike?
I don't like him.
But, maybe that could be Dawkins' next fight. Maybe that could be a fun.
Okay. That'd be cool. That'd be interesting.
Yeah,
I'm not a huge fan of him, but I could see that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know, man. I don't really care about Dawkins anymore. It's weird. I think it's stock kind of dropped off. I don't care about him anymore. I don't care. Like, I mean, it's like
Dawkins.
Yeah, I don't care about Dawkins anymore for some reason. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I guess he was because first of all, the last fight he came in, he did good, but I didn't really hear anything much from him before that. Did you?
No. I've seen a couple of his fights. I knew he was well-rounded. I knew he was good, but this is the UFC trying to push their next star.
Yeah.
Which is difficult to do. Some like they do, Dawkins unfortunately got pushed. And like I said, it's hard when the UFC tries to make a guy a gatekeeper, but he's actually just a finisher.
Yeah, because I'm looking at, because I'll tell you this, right? Gon never had that push. Gon didn't have the push. So, but I would be watching him fight. I think the first fight I ever seen him with was either with the Volkov or with the Rosenstreak. And I'm watching this dude fight. And I'm like, yo, am I the only one that's seeing this? I have to keep looking at my phone like, wait, this is a heavyweight fight? And I'm looking at him move and piece these people up. I'm like, yo, like, this isn't normal. But he wasn't getting that push. And I'm like, yo, this dude will violate Lewis. This dude could probably do something with Ngannou. I can't really see what they could. I'm like, because I remember I used to think about the fight with Lewis. I'm like, I think this dude could actually piece up Lewis low-key.
I think that is the worst matchup for Lewis in the division. Everyone else he has a shot against, better shot against.
But this is what I was saying. But he didn't have that push. But Dawkins has the push. But I don't see that same that specialness with Dawkins. So I'm like, that's why I don't care what happened. It's like,
they're still sort of ignoring God. Actually, think about it. He's fighting. I think the first fight in January or February. He's fighting for a belt. Yeah. They're not giving him no promotion.
Nothing.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that.
So it's like it's just weird to me. It's just like, damn, like it would think like you would really boost up Gon, but with Dawkins, I don't care what happened. And the way you lost too. It's not like I think Rosenstreak was going crazy on. He was trying to wild out on Lewis, wasn't he? He was fighting confidently. He got caught, but he was still fighting, wasn't he? Do I remember correctly?
Let me see. Let me pull up the record.
Rosenstreak, like after he got knocked out by Lewis, or am I getting that wrong?
I think Rosenstrike got knocked out by Francis Ngannou. I'm not sure if he's fought Derek Lewis yet.
Okay. So maybe I'm thinking about Volkov and I'm thinking about Blades. They was giving it to Lewis before you got knocked out. Dawkins was on some scary shit. I understand it. I mean, I'm not in there in the ring, but nonetheless, this is entertainment. I wasn't entertained, so I don't really care what happened to Dawkins.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say is Rosenstrike has not fought Lewis yet. I think Volkov will actually do worse this time around if he fought Derek Lewis. For the simple reason
he's surprised a little bit.
Is that he gained a lot of weight to be at the heavyweight size. And now he's more flat-footed. And that movement was really helping him when he fought Lewis the first time. I think this time he's a lot bigger. And I think he's going to be more flat-footed and Lewis will catch him again. But on to the next fight, the co-main. That's one. I think that's the only other fight that I was able to watch this card. So we have Bilal Muhammad, Wonder Boy. And I was 2-0 at this point. I was 2-0. I had Bilal and I had Derek Lewis. What do you think about Bilal beating Wonder Boy entering that top 5 spot?
So it was a dominant performance. He did what he was supposed to do. Why stand up and trade with a striking mastermind to get my head beat off when I could just take you down and win to my advantage? So it wasn't a pretty fight to watch. It was a fun fight to watch, but and when you think of striking as a puzzle or you think of striking as like a mental game, he did what he was supposed to do to win. So kudos to him. And I think they said we've never seen Wonder Boy dominated in such a way, right? Now, with that being said, I still cannot stand Bilal. I hate his fighting style. There's something about him, like where people kind of just grate you the wrong way. I'm sure he's a nice dude, but it's just his fighting style is so infuriating to me. Watching him wrap up Wonder Boy like that, it was just like, yo, and number one, I hate that fighting style, right? I don't mind wrestlers, but if you're gonna hold somebody down for the whole fight, do something. Do some ground and pound. Like, I guess he was trying to do ground and pound, but it was trash. Like, what are you doing? So you're just gonna hold him down for the whole fight. That's what you're supposed to watch because you want to grind out the win. It's not entertaining. I'm not entertained. I do not like Bilal. That was a trash fight. It was bad. At least with Burns, he was trying to attempt submissions, and I still like the way he was doing it. The way you was doing it, Bilal, it was just boring. You're not doing nothing. You're just holding him down, laying on top of him. Trash. You called out. Okay, before we even get to that, go ahead. I'm gonna let you go. I do not like it. You did what you're supposed to do, but I still don't like Bilal. Go ahead, bro.
So my biggest thing is I think he showed excellent grappling, and I think he's starting to fight to his advantage. One thing I will say though is you gotta be careful. Is that 170 is full of grapplers, so you got guys like Sean Brady, who Michael Chiesa just fought, and I think that'd be a good fight for Bilal next because every fight can't be up the ladder. Some fights have to be below you. So trying to keep that same approach at 170 is going to be difficult because you could end up fighting a Neil Magny who's really well-rounded. This is a great fight for Michael Chiesa if he's trying to bounce back. Great fight for Sean Brady if he's trying to come up. If I'm Kazmat Chimaev, then, and I'm looking at a way to enter that top five, Bilal plays exactly into my strong suit, which is grappling. And if I'm Bilal, then maybe I try to take on a Gilbert Burns next.
But here's the thing, though, because I don't think he played to his advantage. I don't think his advantage is wrestling. I think he's a well-rounded fighter, and he knows that Wonder Boy is trash on the ground because he didn't fight like that with Leon when Leon was beating that ass. He wasn't fighting like that with Leon.
Oh my gosh, how many times we got to go?
No. He was. No, I'm just saying. I'm going back to the last fight. So he's not a grappler, wrestler type of dude. He just knows Wonder Boy is trash with it. So that's not going to work with Sean Brady. Sean Brady will violate Bilal on the ground like that. Chiesa is going to violate him.
And that's what I was sort of saying. Is like you got to be careful trying to take that heavy grappling approach in other fights just because this is a grappling heavy division.
But he's not going to. I think the only reason he did that was because of Wonder Boy.
I don't know. Sometimes fighters, they see a way where they win and they think that that's going to be the blueprint. Because, one of my favorite fighters, Neil Magny, he's a very well-rounded fighter. He tried to out-grapple Michael Chiesa and it just ended up not going too well. But maybe he will show his other skills. At the end of the day, he did what he had to do to win. He's in the top five. Maybe he runs it back with Leon. Maybe he runs it with Gilbert Burns. Or maybe try to get the bag and try to fight Jorge Masvidal.
Who, Bilal?
Listen, he's the one in the top five.
Bro.
And he's on the edge of the top five, which means guys are going to be looking to use him to get in. So
Masvidal's not fighting Bilal, bro.
Think about it, though. You're trying to get a win. You're trying to get back in the top five. If I'm Nate.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Listen,
because Masvidal's out of the top five, right?
He's out of the top five. He just lost 2 in a row. You're trying to ease your way back in. Why not fight the number 5 guy and Bilal? Bilal's going to take the fight because it's a money fight. Then you could sort of fight Bilal, see what happens. Maybe fight Colby, but ease your way back in. What do you think about that?
And I think with Bilal, too, I think he actually This is what I was telling you. And you disagree with me, Malik. You did. But listen to it. You saw what Bilal did at the end of his fight? That's what you're supposed to do with the mic. Whatever they go at me, I'm willing. Who do y'all want to see me against? Or, it's all no, you got to call people out. That's how you see, I hate Bilal. But guess what? I'm interested to see what happens next because he used that mic time. We called out Usman, which is crazy. He called out Leon, but he used that mic time well. Where was I going with this? Okay, I think he realized the blueprint a little bit. So I think Bilal could actually build up hype for a fight. I think during the press conference portion and the embedded portion, I think he could actually sell tickets. So I could see those people taking that fight too.
Listen, and just from a cultural standpoint, how many people from his country have someone to look up to in the UFC? So he's sort of like Leon Edwards in a way. True, but like his culture, his race sort of just like, isn't he? I would say I don't want to say this the wrong way, but I believe he's Muslim. So like, if you got somebody Muslim from your state, that's sort of someone you could look up to. That's a blueprint. So he's gonna get that backing. He's gonna get that pushing that you need. Sort of like if I had somebody, like a freaking NFL player from Rochester who came out my hood and he is freaking black and Hispanic, I'd be like, oh, I'm interested now. So I agree. He can sell tickets. He could do his thing. But what I'm going to say is maybe Leon could take the blueprint from Bilal and do some call outs at Usman, because right now is the perfect time.
Yeah. Like, it's okay. I get it, Leon. You want to not take any fights. You want to go straight to Usman. I get it. But I don't think you should be doing that, sitting down, training. You should be making some type of noise. So like, okay, I get it. Number one, the UFC does not like when fighters sit down and wait for fights.
Yeah.
But bro, at least make some type of traction. You see what Kobe doing? He doesn't even have a fight lined up. Yeah, he's still making videos, keeping his name in there. Masvidal making videos, keeping his name alive. But bro, you can't just sit there not doing nothing and expect.
At the Jake Paul fight, at the Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley fight, Nate Diaz at the Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley fight, Nate Diaz calling out Dustin Poirier. So I agree. Maybe Leon's a little bit too silent, because this is the perfect time. No one really has a winning streak. Usman has ran through everybody else. If Leon doesn't do something, someone like Bilal might actually be able to skip Leon. If he fights like a Gilbert Burns and beat him, he may just skip Leon.
Yeah.
And then, get his opportunity at a championship.
And I think Kamaru would rather fight Bilal than Leon. I think Bilal is a much easier fight, and I think Bilal could sell the fight better.
Yeah, I think Usman beats both, to be honest, but I do agree with you. Leon has to do something to keep his name popular, because right now he's too stagnant. So that's all I got to say. I think I like Bilal personally. I think he's good on the mic. And one thing I will say is he works for the UFC, and that's a pretty good gig, because you get other analysts like DC, Paul Felder, Cruz. They're constantly breaking down fights. So he's able to come in from a whole different aspect. So that's one thing I will say, that Bilal has an advantage with just the minds that he's around all the time, just getting knowledge. So I actually want to keep seeing him win. I like Bilal.
Yeah, I want to see him get violated. I'm not a fan at all. I want to see him go against Chimaev. Honestly, I want to see Chimaev doing dirty. Who are you to call out Kamaru? Really?
See, but here's the thing about Chimaev. Who's going to fight Chimaev?
Bilal.
Nah, Neil Magny said he'll fight Chimaev, but Chimaev wants somebody a little bit higher.
Oh, look, see, don't you love that? Don't you love the irony? So what you guys got to say about that now? Nothing, right? So Chimaev wants something a little bit higher. Oh, but you have no problem with that. But when people don't want to fight Chimaev because he's so low, then they're ducking him, right?
Who, me?
Huh? No, I'm not talking about you.
Oh, okay.
I'm not talking about you.
Yeah.
I'm just in general. So Chimaev technically ducking Neil Magny. Oh no. So you see how the irony in that?
It is, because Neil Magny, he dude, I give him props. He will fight anybody. Dude has fought on everyone, and they actually do have beef. Yeah. Like they don't like each other. They had some words with each other. I believe Neil Magny said when he seen him, gonna slap him in the face. So it's not like, Neil Magny, I think, is ranked 7 or 8. Yeah. Chimaev is ranked on the outskirts of 10.
Go fight him. Yeah, Kobe don't want to fight you. They don't want to fight you, Chimaev. Go fight him. But no, right? You see what I'm saying? It's like a double standard with people.
Yeah, that's a crazy big jump too. You think about it, like someone in the top 5 to fight someone not even in the top.
It makes no sense. His last fight was Leach, right? His last fight was Leach. Then his last fight was Leach. Before that was like a no name. It's like, now you're gonna fight Kobe and then Kamaru. No, go fight Neil Magny. Oh, but you don't want to because he's too low, right? Come on, son.
How about the guy who does a lot of the flips and kicks? Pereira. That's actually an interesting fight. Pereira versus Cosma. I would actually like that fight, because it's sort of like,
I could sell.
can he get his hands on him before he do something wild?
Yeah.
And that's a big on both.
That'd be fire.
That's big on both sides. Like, come on, son, that's big on both sides, and they're both around the same level. So why not? Listen, you got a dude who people want to see because he's doing backflips off the cage, cartwheels, jumping knees. He was getting pushed. He was getting pushed, but he took an L, so he lost his push. Yeah, he took an L. Okay. He took an L, but he bounced back, and he, because he gassed out a little bit. But listen, that dude's doing all types of flips, and there you go, Michelle Pereira, all types of flips and everything. So people want to see that. You're Kazmat Chimaev. You're finishing in 2 minutes. They want to see you. So why not have you two young prospects fight each other?
I just thought about something. If Kazmat actually runs to Kamaru, I think we could see something crazy because Kazmat is a big dude, and I think he could fight at middleweight. He can fight at middleweight.
Yeah, I think he had a fight at middleweight already. Yeah, one fight. I think he went 170, 185, 170, and 170 again.
He's a huge dude.
Yeah.
So I think he could fight at middleweight.
Listen, he can fight at middleweight. I think right now he's sticking to 170 just because he's bouncing back from COVID. He doesn't want to fluctuate too much. But that's the youth on his side. Because he's not old. He's not that old yet. I think he's 27. Yeah. And he's big. He's a big guy. He made a Jack Hermanson look small in the grappling tournament. Yeah. Who's a 185er. So we'll see. But on to the one where I lost. I was gonna go 3-0 with the sweep, but unfortunately, Tyron Woodley lost versus Jake Paul.
Okay, one thing before we go though. Yo, shout out to Angela Hill. Yo, this chick fights once every other month. Win or lose, she's always fighting. I gotta respect that. Like I remember, something else. I'm like, yo, she on this card too. This chick fights often. I don't really think she crazy with it, but I gotta respect it though. I just wanted to put that out there.
Angela Hill is a dope fighter. There's some things that maybe I didn't see her last fight, but the one before that. There's some things that I would like to see her tighten up. She sort of does walk her hands a little bit. And her grappling, people know that they could wrestle her. That's the one thing. People know that she prefers to strike and they can wrestle her. But she sets a high pace. She's always in there to win. She's aggressive. Just little small things that, she tightened up. It worked to her benefit because she's going there in the finish, and some people are going in there to probably point fight her and beat her on the scorecards, and which is unfortunate.
All right. Okay, so before we continue, guess what happened, bro?
What?
I actually like Lewis now. But if I don't like Bilal, I don't know what could ever make me like. I would have to meet Bilal in person for me to like him. But Lewis, I like Lewis now, bro. And just watching his mic time and just watching I could tell Lewis is actually a genuinely good dude. It's like when you watch him speak, I can tell he's a good dude, and I like him now. But that being said, I don't dislike Tyrant. I just annoyed at him. It's like, bro, like. I'm gonna let you set it off. So you introduce us into this, man.
Hey, listen, I was 50-50 on the fight because I always say, people keep saying, Jake Paul, fight a boxer. Jake Paul doesn't have boxing skills. And I'm watching, I'm like, this dude is pretty good. Like, they're comparing, when people make the comparison to Jake Paul, they compare him against people who are like the Canelos, the Teofimos, the Combosas, people like that. Don't compare him to top-notch guys. Don't compare him to Manny Pacquiao. Don't compare him to a Sean Porter. Compare him to people at his skill level. And when Jake Paul fights people at his skill level, he does pretty well. His boxing level is good for a guy who's been boxing for 3 years. What do you feel about that?
I think Jake Paul is bad at boxing, bro. Trash at boxing. I've seen better boxers enter a bathroom gym within 6 months at better technique than Jake Paul. He'll lift up his foot when he's like throwing punches. He'll like lift up his foot. I'll see him like his shots to the body look sloppy. I do not think Jake Paul is good at boxing, bro.
One thing I will say though is, listen, everybody makes mistakes though when it's fight night. You go and you practice at A+, but you usually fight at like a C- to a C. So I'm not really. At the same time, these guys should have, with the exception of Nate Robinson, these guys, Ben Askren took him lightly and lost. Woolley took him lightly and lost, and then he came back again and lost again. So he's handling business, and these are guys who are not boxers, but they are competitors. So maybe they should take them a little bit more serious.
Bro, Ben freaking Askren is trash with the hands. He did not take him lightly. He is trash. Number two, Tyrant is a wrestler who found out in the middle of his career that he had power. He didn't even know in the beginning. He randomly found out, knocked someone. I was like, oh shoot, his overhand right got power. If you look at his fights, he's not a crazy striker. He would wind up that overhand right like freaking what's that dude's name? Like freaking Wilder. That's what he would do. It's not like he would set it up. He would just boom, boom. He had horrible technique with his striking. Tyrant sucks at striking. He just had a crazy ass right hand. So no, bruh.
Who's next for Jake Paul?
Whatever Jake Paul wants. I mean, I think he was looking at Masvidal, but I think the weight difference is too much. See, that's the thing you got to factor in. Because my sister asking me? No, my homeboy was asking me. He was like, "Yo, who in the UFC could beat Jake Paul in boxing?" And I was telling him, I'm like, "Yo, there's actually a few people that could, but you have to factor in the weight. Like I think Kobe Garbrandt came from a boxing background.
Yeah.
I think he's nice with the hands. I think Peter Yan could go crazy, but it's just the weight difference." Dude, freaking Tyrant, man. Bruh. Listen, man. Okay, so here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say about Jake Paul.
Mm-hmm.
I do not downplay anything he does anymore because I finally realized what's going on. Why the heck am I going to fight a boxer when I just keep making all these millions, finding you know what I mean? Finding people like that. So I don't really downplay. I don't really see it as like a boom, 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 boom. So it's just like, it is what it is. My main focus is Tyrant specifically. It's like, bro, you mean to tell me you saw nothing you did wrong in the last fight? You watch him, I'll see footage of him watching his previous fight, and he'll be like, it's like there's like no improvement. And he did, come out a little better, but it's like, yo, you clinching him after every engagement, you tossing him on the floor. That would have been funny if he was really like, if he was beating Jake Paul last day, he slammed him. That would be kind of funny. But like, bro, you kind of. I mean, I think I kind of had him winning the fight, but I'm thoroughly blessed that you got knocked out, because if that fight would have went to this distance, I think they would have lost a lot of money because no one would have wanted to see the rematch.
Exactly. So I mean, I don't know where Woodley goes next.
Woodley goes next. Woodley is finished. He's done for.
He wants to keep fighting. He wants to keep fighting.
Bro, what?
He wants to keep fighting.
No more commentating. No one wants to hear your commentary. And I'm dead ass. No one's going to pay him to commentate. No more coaching. No one's want you to get coached by someone that got their ass beat by Jake Paul. No more movie appearances. You cannot play a fighter in a movie. You got your ass beat by Jake Paul. No more low-level appearances. You got your ass beat by Jake Paul. It's over for Woodley. What next for Woodley? Bro, this was the worst-case scenario.
Listen, he could still
what?
You want to have Woodley as a wrestling coach?
I would have Woodley as a wrestling coach, but I would rather have DC as a wrestling coach. I'm going to go to DC.
I mean, it's not, you don't always get that choice. Does DC want you? But, yeah, come on.
You foolish, bro.
Come on.
Does DC want you? Oh, no.
Yeah, I mean, you don't just get to pick DC. That's like saying, I'm going to go to Khabib.
I'm gonna go to no, the reason I say DC is because he does have a gym out in Florida or Cali. I think Cali. So he does have a gym. Yeah, so you can go there and be coached by him. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So who else? I mean, for Jake Paul, I don't know who he fights next. Like you said, whoever he wants. I'm trying to look at somebody who's semi-talented, who's a boxer, but who isn't too out of reach. Maybe Mike Perry.
Yeah.
Mike Perry just fought on his card. Mike Perry is the same size as Jake Paul. Mike Perry is crazy on the mic, crazy off the mic.
That would be a crazy ass press conference.
Jake Paul is that. Think about, and it's Triller. It's all about entertainment. Mike Perry is a wild man. Jake Paul is a wild man. They're about the same build. And Mike Perry's not too crazy with the hands, but Mike Perry do got power though.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's a dog. So
I've heard that. I was thinking about Darren Williams. That would have been interesting. Darren Williams. But he doesn't have enough power though. He is,
and he's one and done. He's one and done, he said.
But I think he would come in for Jake Paul though. That's the difference. I think he would come back for Jake Paul. He's
one and done. Let him be one and done. Let the man do his thing. So I mean, that was my wrap up. I went 2-1 tonight. Shout out to Bilal. Shout out to Derek Lewis. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, for me.
Unfortunately, what?
We'll get it done for me. So what's the next UFC card? I'm looking it up right now.
That's a Ghanaian. That's Ghanaian Ngannou. That's funny. I actually don't know what to think about that, man. Especially how the improvements I saw Ngannou do, especially when he came over, when he reversed that takedown off of Stipe. I think it's going to be a little different, man.
I don't.
A measured Ngannou is freaking crazy. I can't even picture that. Measured Ngannou that's picking his shots. Holy, he is still got that crazy power.
One thing I will say about Ngannou is when he's on the outside, he's super loose. Like he's super loose and fluid, and he's just waiting for that big shot. So is he gonna whiff? Is he gonna whiff on those big shots?
Yo, can you imagine if freaking Ngannou does the same thing to Ngannou that they did to Lewis?
I can actually. He's making me a believer.
Because the thing is, I'm looking back at how Ngannou fights, and it's not really, Ngannou is like a crazy wild brawler. Like, look what he did to Rosenstreich. Just kind of just ran through him like a freaking bulldozer with his crazy punches. So is that like he's like a freaking like technical striker? Unless I'm wrong.
We skipped one fight before UFC 270. Giga and Calvin Kattar.
Oh, really? When is that, by the way?
That's actually January 15th.
Oh, I thought Ngannou was January. Well, that's January like
22nd.
Oh, okay.
Oh man, this card is actually pretty good. Greg Hardy versus Olenek. Mozart versus Janet Kearney versus Blom Brunson. Moreno versus Figueiredo 3 for no reason. I don't want to see that.
I thought that was on the Ngannou card.
It is. That's Ngannou's card. The other one was just he got. Okay. No, it's not the 15th. I'm sorry, my bad, but I actually am not excited for Moreno versus Figueiredo 3. I think it's pointless.
Yeah, and I think it kind of.
Because think about
it. It's a shame for Moreno too. I think
Yeah. You tie the.
It almost downplays. It kind of downplays his championship run a teeny bit.
You tie him the first time, right? So the next fight is the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Moreno wins the tiebreaker. If Figueiredo wins, now you're tied again. What are you gonna do? Fight a fourth time?
Yeah.
So that's just my thinking. And it's not like 125 is shallow. 125 got, a lot more people now.
Yeah.
You got Kai Kara France. You got Starboy. Garbrandt, he's not 125. So it's not like they're shallow.
Garbrandt is about to get cut soon, by the way.
I think he should take a step down in competition and just find himself. Look at Dominic Cruz. He started in the lower 15 to 10, fought, got his style back, fought somebody else, and then fought Pedro Munoz, got himself on a streak, found his style. Sometimes when you go through that spin cycle, it's hard to find out what you're good at, what you're bad at without hitting dire consequences.
Yeah. Dana was like, even Dana, he was like, yeah, he's like, you could tell Dana's like, I think Cody has like one more fight, if that. He might get cut soon before that.
He got to win it.
Yeah, he has to win that next fight.
I think he should fight someone in the 20 to 15s. You're in the new division. Your body is trying to figure itself out. You dropped a lot more weight.
Or honestly, you know what he could do? He could just kind of push for that Sugar fight. Because
No,
I didn't.
The way Sugar's looking right now, the way Garbrandt's looking right now, I don't want to see that fight.
Yeah, but if he loses, that fight is over with. So you might as well just make that money fight. That's a crazy money fight.
Nah. I think he's trying to be in there for the long run. I said take your time at 125, start at the bottom, work your way up. I don't want to see Garbrandt fight Sugar right now. I think Sugar's too slick in the ring for him. I think he's too slick on the mic for him. Because did you see when they were bantering back and forth?
Yeah.
And Cody Garbrandt said, I'll drop down to 125 and still fight you at 135.
And Cody he was like,
Sugar,
why?
yeah, he was like, why? Why would you do that?
Like, that's stupid. He's like, you see, that's why you're an idiot.
Yeah, I was like, dang, this man's it's just too slick for Garbrandt right now. Yeah. So I don't want to see that fight. I'm good on it. But we'll see. I got blonde hair Brunson with the upset against Cannonier. And I got Calvin Kattar.
Cannonier is a favorite in that fight?
I believe so. He should be. But blonde hair Brunson's on a 5-fight win streak.
Bro. So blonde hair Brunson's gonna take down Cannonier, and what Gastelum could have taken down Cannonier?
Hey, that's okay.
That's okay. What do you mean that's okay? If he doesn't take down Cannonier, what are you gonna do? Hit him with the go crazy with the hands?
Listen. Then I think Darren Till beat Kelvin Gastelum, and look at what blonde hair Brunson did to Till. MMA math doesn't work all the time, bro.
No, but that's not MMA math. Can you take down Cannonier? No? Okay, then you're going to get your ass beat. He took down Till, right? How did that fight happen?
Yeah, he took down Till and he submitted him, I believe.
Exactly. But, dude, you're not going to – I mean, unless I'm kind of underestimating his ability, then he could take down
listen, there's one big difference in his win streak. He's never had an actual coach up until his last 5 fights, and you can see the difference it's making. You can't say he's not improving fastly.
He's improving. Yeah, that ground and pound is crazy. I'm like, oh, shoot.
And he's actually grounding. Like, he's not laying and praying. That boy is getting on top of you, and he trying to finish those, the strikes.
That's an interesting fight, man. Cannonier and Brunson.
Blonde hair Brunson.
Yeah. Yo, the beginning of the year is gonna be crazy because we got. I think in February is the Whitaker and Adesanya.
I think Adesanya is just too sharp at 185.
You think so?
At 185, he's too sharp. We're all waiting for Alex Pereira.